Okay, according to my little YouTube thing here in OBS that I'm using to broadcast, we are officially live. Welcome back to This Is Your Mind on AI, the YouTube channel. This is a live stream experience that we're going to play with. So welcome if you happen to be here live. Most of you, probably better chance that you're watching this as a replay. Even if you were here live, probably watch this as a replay to kind of see what's going on, because there's going to be a lot of fun stuff I think we can do. And it's being made as a replay, as a live stream that's really to be made as a replay. So if you're going through and you're not missing out on anything, in fact, you're going to be able to experience along with the rest of us. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, do not comment, do not like, do not subscribe if you haven't done that stuff already. Don't do that now. Now is not the time for that. We're kind of a weird channel that way. But there's going to be a time where I'm going to let you know when to do that because that's going to be important, and you're going to understand why that's important as we go through this particular experience. So with that, that's really it. It's all the instructions. We're going to dive right in and have this little conversation around AI. And I don't know kind of what your perspective on AI has been recently, but mine was pretty quickly, like in the beginning, it was super cool. And it was like this whole new world that was possible. And then pretty quickly, you started hearing people talk about the idea of AI being like this dumb intern, that you got to sort of treat it like a brilliant but dumb intern. It has all the academic knowledge in the world, but it has no street smarts, right? It's like a research assistant, but it has no soul. I mean, however people would describe it, they would describe like these two sides of kind of, it's really good at this one thing, but it's horrible at this other thing. And that was sort of generated into this intern style persona. And we all have this default understanding, I think now, is, oh, we just use AI like it's a dumb intern, super smart, dumb intern. And as long as we keep prompting in that style, then we can get better results from it. And I don't think that's working as well. It hasn't worked as well for me. What I get is this feeling of like a lesser version of the problem. So I have a discussion with AI, and I'm talking about any of them, ChatGPT, Gemini, I'll show you Gemini here because that's just convenient for everybody. But any of these LLMs, it doesn't matter. When you're working with them, you feel like, oh, here's the problem I want to get solved. So you're discussing the problem, trying to figure out the solution that you're looking for. And so you're going to this AI for help. And every time it comes back with some sort of response, it's kind of like, it's that yeah, but thing where you're like, yeah, like that's kind of helpful, but it's not at all helpful at the same time. Kind of like it's giving you back a lesser version of the problem or something that's a closer step to the solution, but it's not the solution. Like I don't want the work. And that's kind of what it feels like happens sometimes, where this thing just gives you more work and more work. And then by the end of the conversation, you're just kind of like, you know what, I'm just going to do this myself. And this is something I call that user loop that maybe you've experienced as well. And I want to show you I'm just going to diagram this here. I'm going to bring this up. From time to time, I'm going to go in and diagram some stuff, and I'll share screens and I'll zoom in when it's appropriate, pop my face back in when I'm trying to explain something about what I'm diagramming. So that's kind of what we're doing today. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here. And so what basically happens, at least what's been happening for me with AI, is I would basically come out and say, okay, here's the thing I need help on, right? So I need help on, write an email. So whatever the email is I'm trying to write, let's say I'm doing some sort of marketing for the company and I'm trying to write an email or get some sort of word out. And then what AI will do was it will say, okay, that's awesome. In fact, let's do this little slightly rounded corners because AI is going to give us a polished, right? So here I have no email. Here AI goes, here's an email, right? And then what do? We say, okay, well, I need not that email, right? So it's kind of like, I still need help. So it's basically like not that exact email, some other email, right? It's kind of what we're thinking. Some other email. I need help, write a better email, right? And then we start kind of going in this loop, and this is where the user loop comes in, as all of a sudden you start realizing this starts happening, right? Where it kind of goes, oh, all right, now we're gonna loop this back. I didn't quite make the move that I wanted it to make, but oh, there we go. Maybe that works. There we are. So here we are. So now we've got this whole user loop that we're caught in, which is, hey, I need help. I need to do something, right? I need you to do something. And then it says, oh, here's something I need you to do. Again, it could be something as an email, organize this document, or help me figure out what to cook for tonight, or I'm trying to figure out how to get out of this fight with my spouse, or to think differently with this other relationship that I've got going on with my teammate, or whatever the thing is. It doesn't matter. An automation you might be thinking through, a business idea, again, anything. So we needed help, write this email. And it's like, oh, here's an email. And then you're like, yeah, but that's not quite the thing that I needed. I need you to do a better version of the email. And then there's the kind of disconnect that happens here where you have this idea of what you're really looking for, but somehow you can't really communicate it other than this looping style that is causing frustration. It is frustrating to go through this with an AI because you feel like you're making progress, but you're not making progress at all. It almost feels like you're spinning in circles or that we're in a user loop. And that is how I kind of look at the user loop. Now, this is something that as an AI user, you will often experience when you are using AI, you will experience a user loop. That's how you know you're using AI. And what we're going to talk about today is a way to sort of shift our perspective and move from that perspective of AI using or user and using AI to operating AI more as a machine or as a component that it really is. And you're going to see some pretty cool results of how we can get out of those loops and fix things a little bit better. So that is what we're going to play with. Now, I'm going to explain kind of how we're going to think about this because I wanted this to be as easy as possible for anyone to be able to experience. And that was basically, I had one condition that I hope this training is useful for, this sharing of this message or whatever is useful for. And that is if you're able to use a Gmail account in any way, if you know the basics of using Gmail, right? You can do this. Like everything, you can use AI in the way that I'm using AI is what I'm trying to tell you. If you know how to use a Gmail account, if you know how to check email, you're good. Like that's all it really takes. I'm going to be showing Gmail's experience, whatever. But my point is any email, as long as you can check email and you understand the basics of Gmail in particular, because I'm going to be showing that as an example, you're going to be just fine. So we're going to go through it and explain and kind of go through it once as you go through and experience it. And hopefully you will start realizing kind of what's happening as we go through. Now, all right, what I'm going to do here is I want to explain what we're trying to accomplish with AI. Instead of the user loop, right? Instead of going through this user loop that we're going through, I'm going to pull back up my screen here. We're going to want to flip this. So I'm going to copy this. Now, this is what we want to say is the operator. Okay. So what we want to try to do in the operator mode when we're working with AI is instead of coming in saying, hey, I need help writing this email. And then let's say, again, this will happen. This will absolutely happen. Get rid of this little disconnect here. So it says, okay, we connect. It says, yeah, I need to write an email. It says, here's an email. It says, not that exact email, some other email I need help with, write a better email. And then it loops back. An AI operator doesn't do that. What will happen is it'll say, I need help writing the email. And when we know that there's this mode here, we're going to understand that to sort of give us like this red light signal, right? So, oops, that's not what I wanted. Let's do this one. This is what I wanted. So we've got this, or I thought that's what I wanted. Here we go. There we go. This should do it. Red light. So this is a red light signal. At this point, we're about to loop. If I say this, I'm about to loop. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, we're going to flip into operator mode, and that is going to be something more similar to help me, something like this. And I'm going to show you how you do this. So we want more of a green light feeling, right? Which is that, we're going to flip from our little red light system. When we get this red light, in fact, I'm going to do it more like this because this is kind of how it actually is going to go. You don't do these at the same time. So the way it'll go here is you're going to have this little red light system. That's going to then all of a sudden say, okay, well, now we have to do the response, which we have to figure out now. Oh, the reason I am having this experience right now, the reason I'm feeling like I'm not getting the response from AI is because I don't know, right? And this is important because I don't know as a human interacting with it right now, and I don't know how to ask for what I'm trying to ask for. That's the problem. Is I think I'm asking the AI to tell me something logical, which is, hey, here's this thing that I know of. Make it a better version in the way that only you know how to do, which is awesome because AI can totally do that, but not if you ask in that way. You have to ask them a different perspective. And that's because if you ask that in that way, you get that user loop. And it says, oh, you mean like this? You mean like this? You mean like this? And you just keep going into where you're getting into arguments around it and everything else. It's not about that. What we want to do is we're going to operate it from a different perspective. So we realize when we start to get that feeling of like, oh, not that, then you're like, oh, never mind. That's just a red light signal for me to adjust on the human side of this equation, of this conversation. And instead, I'm going to change my prompting style. I'm going to adjust how I prompt my AI. I'm not going to prompt in the way that I was just about to prompt. So that's what happens. It goes into, this is what, you don't know what to ask. And the idea of this is that then we're going to prompt in a different style until we get that green light feeling of like, oh, now I know there's an insight here, right? Something that I can actually do something with. And it feels like a solution. And it feels like in something you can actually, that's almost already happened, which is exactly what you're trying to do with AI, is to make things happen, not to learn about all the stuff that you need to do to make things happen. Who cares about that? Let's just make stuff happen with AI. And we can do that when we're operating it. So another way to think about this, and this is where I'm going to bring it into Gmail. Remember we said, if you have any experience at all with email, you're going to be able to hang on to this because I wanted to keep this as simple as possible. And I'm going to use this very Gmail account for future experience trainings like we're doing here to share kind of what's going on so that we can all have fun together here on this YouTube channel. So anybody at any time can email me at thisisyourmindonai at Gmail. Sorry, thisisyourmindonai.com is the community. We'll talk about that later. Thisisyourmindonai at gmail.com is the account that we use to demonstrate all this stuff and be part of an experience. Now, heads up, I cannot promise I'm going to reply back to anybody or even that I'm going to open them, to be honest. I just want to use them for future experiences. So anybody, I wouldn't say you suggest to email me anything there now because there's a high chance I won't see it or reply back. I just want to make sure I'm not saying that. But if for future experiences, I think we're going to be able to use it for some cool stuff. So feel free to email at any time with whatever you feel like, because then we'll potentially put it into some sort of future experience. Again, no guarantees. This is just your way of participating as the audience, kind of going into the virtual audience. That'll be through the Gmail. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. Anyway, let's go into what why this relates to AI. When you're going through your AI, there's a little part in Gmail that's right here. When you click on the little more button, you can go where it says all mail. This is what kind of your standard email interface looks like without any sort of filtering or organization. It's just a bunch of messages back and forth, right? From different people. So the way that I think about this and relate this to AI would be like the different roles that AI is playing in the conversation that I'm trying to tell it to play. And it's responding back to me with all these different things, right? And it's sending me all this stuff. Some of the replies I get are really useful. And you know what that feels like because you get that reply and you're like, oh my God, yeah, that makes me think about this. Or it's that like connect the dots feeling. Or it's that feeling where you just go like, oh, and it's this like sigh of relief. You're like, yes, that's the thing I need. Like, that's it. And you recognize that something new has occurred and it's different now. And you're like, that's the solution. That's why it's different, because you can see all the ways it can't work already. That's why you only see the problem. But AI, you want to be able to show you the solution, right? And some of the times you will get that feeling from AI. But other times, more often than not, you just get the work that's required to actually get the solution. And while that's okay, you think in the beginning that's what you want, you really don't want to do the work because you now are starting to hopefully realize something that I realized, which is the only reason AI is giving you work is because you're accidentally giving it directions, prompts to give you work. You're not asking it to give you a solution, and you don't realize that yet, but you're about to. And this is where, again, it relates to email. So now we have these emails coming in. Think of it just like the stream of replies. Some of these emails are really good, high quality insight emails that are incredibly useful. We need to do something with. A lot of them are just not, right? They're just not particularly useful. Some of them probably spam, right? Some are just like regular emails. Some of them are just junk. Some of them are kind of useful. It's from a friend that you've never heard of for a really long time, and you get this deep connection and this cool thing. And some emails are just trash, right? And you wish you never got them. And the trick to AI is it's very much like emails. All these responses we're getting back from the AI, every single response you get back is like another email that you're going, is this a useful email? Is this a useful response from my AI, right? Going back to what we had shown over here. Is this a useful response? When it says, oh, here's your email, you're like, is it useful? If it's not, it's a little red light signal from me. And I'm like, I got to stop, like you do at a red light, or it should be. And so you stop and you think, okay, I'm clearly in the mode where I think I thought I knew what I was needing. I clearly don't know how to say this. So I need to change my prompting style. Right. And that's all it is. And it's very much, going back to email here, very much like organizing your email. How would we organize? If this was just a stream of emails and you couldn't stop what was spam and what was trash and what was from your best friend and what was from your boss and what was from all the different roles, right? Your spouse or, kids or family, whatever everything means to you that's a connection in your life. You have all these different things coming through email. If you just had that fire hose coming through, it'd be really hard for you to see the insights and to do anything. And that's kind of what AI conversations feel like for most of us, is because some insights, but mostly just a whole lot of work that we're trying to go through to try to find the insights. You have to dig through this jungle of knowledge that now you're all feeling powerful because you know all these things. But the problem is you know a bunch of stuff and you're not doing anything with it because you have no idea what to do with it. Because you really don't want to know the stuff. You want to have the solution as if you did already know the stuff. And so there's ways to get that from AI, just like there's ways to organize email. But how? Because right now, if you just use email, if we're just a Gmail user here, if I was just a Gmail user, I have to deal with it like this. However, I can switch that with a little gear icon. And this is important because this is what users do not realize is AI has its own gear icon. Now, what do I mean by that? If I go into Gmail and I don't want to have to deal with my Gmail with all these different messages, and I want a little bit of help, I change the structure of how Gmail works. So I click into the gears and I can reconfigure it. So if I want it to be a little more compact, because I don't need that space, I can make it compact. Well, that makes it a little bit easier for me to just quickly scan. Maybe that's a little more useful for me, but I still have to deal with all this different stuff. Okay, well, let's say I just want the important stuff first. Oh, well, that's nice because I don't have anything there. Everything's in archive or whatever. I want to see the unread stuff first. I can organize like that, or the shared stuff, the priority inbox coming through. I could see multiple inboxes, and I can change how it's actually being set up and configured, right? Coming through. So there's my primary inbox, promotion, social. So I can have it automatically sort and filter things coming through. Just Gmail. This is just, I'm operating Gmail now. I'm a Gmail user who's operating Gmail. I'm not using Gmail. I'm not checking my email. I'm not responding to email. I'm operating Gmail right now. So I can change the configuration here to make it more useful for me as a user when I do use Gmail, so that the right messages are in spam that go to spam automatically. The ones that need to be filtered are filtered automatically. The ones that are important automatically. So that when I go to use Gmail, it's an easier experience of me just getting solutions and moving forward in life and not dealing with having to read every single spam message just to see if it's spam. I just know it is because it's been taken care of, because that's what Gmail does when you properly configure it, right? And of course, there's additional settings and everything else that go back there. But this is the idea, is there's a gear icon that kind of the admin would use. So you're still like, I'm still using Gmail. I'm just using it in a different way. I'm using it like an admin now. When you click the gear icon, you're using it like an admin. You're truly operating the Gmail at this point, the Gmail interface, because that changes how things are done. It changes how you can experience things on your end. That's how this works in Gmail. How does this work in AI? Let's talk about that. All right, so I'm gonna go through and we're gonna go through a little loop. I'm gonna show you what this sort of typical intern thing is. And then I'm gonna show you how to break the loop. And we're gonna go through and I'm gonna show you kind of where we get to insights. Now I'm just gonna use a generic example here, and you can use your own, and this is where you should be, because at this point, I'm gonna get to a point where I'm gonna ask you to participate. Now that means you can view. So if you're obviously just watching this, go into the comment section and look around for this time in the video, which right now we're about, I don't even know where we are. What is my time? Somewhere around the time. There we go. We're like 20 minutes in. So right around 20 minutes, go to the comments and see kind of where those were and what was starting to happen right around this, because this is what's caused. What I'm about to do is what's causing those comments to happen. So you can participate like that. What I really want you to do is obviously participate by doing the comments that you're about to do over the next few minutes. So here's where we start to have a little bit of fun. I'm going to go into Gemini. And from Gemini, so we're going to click into there. This is just a regular Gmail account. It is free. It is set up on the fast mode, so it's the free stuff. It is the same account. This is yourmindonai.com at gmail.com. We set this up just a number of weeks back, so it's really new, but has all the regular default features that everybody has. I'm using this as an example because if you have a Gmail account, you have access to Gemini, so you can use it. Anybody can use it and create this, and you can use anything that we're using here. And then, of course, if you're more comfortable in ChatGPT or Claude or whatever your LLM is, just do that. That's fine. Everything that we do here will apply to that because we're teaching AI, not Gemini. I'm just using Gemini as an example. Okay, with that out of the way, we're going to go through, and I want to pull in a prompt here. So I'm going to say, I'm going to put in here, copy and paste it because I already have this already set out. So I'm going to put in here a little prompt. That's something that you might type into AI, to an AI system. Let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit so you can see that. All right, I'm going to pop my face out of the way here. Okay, oops, opposite, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. Now, when this happens, this is us saying, I need help, write me an email, right? I need help, organize my junk drawer, give me a plan. Like, that's you saying, I know what I need, so please give me the thing that I need. And so it's going to give us this nice little organization plan, right? This is the intern mode that we're using as an AI user already, right? So we get empty and clean. So remove everything. Okay, like that makes sense, but it makes sense. Like you kind of already knew you'd have to remove everything. Then it's clean the drawer. Well, you kind of already knew you'd have to clean the drawer. So you still know the stuff that you knew already, but you know it in a different way because it gives you an example of like, oh, use a good wipe down, use a vacuum attachment. You go, oh, that's a good idea, vacuum attachment. I wouldn't have thought about that. But now you're like, okay, that's fine. But you still just already knew you needed to clean the drawer. You just now you just know a little bit more nuance around how to clean the drawer. But it's not teaching you anything new. This is teaching you a different way of something you already know. This is important because this is what makes it feel like work. So now I'm going through and it's like, okay, then I have to sort and purge. Okay, so you mean I should keep the things that I want and then put the stuff away that belongs other places and then throw out or get rid of the things I don't want? Okay, and it gives you some ideas. And again, what do we experience? We go, oh, that's cool. I never thought about that, right? Like broken dimes, dried up pens, oh, single-use takeout packets. Like, yeah, I remember. Oh, and I'm thinking, oh, I have those in my drawer, right? And you're like, oh, this is fun. AI is really useful. And it is because it is triggering that experience that you're making progress cleaning your drawer, but all you're making progress on is how you're thinking about you still have to clean your drawer, right? More details now, but still starting to spin in circles. That feeling of like, wow, I'm getting a bunch of work, not the actual clean drawer that I need. So then it's okay. Then we're going to categorize. Here's the writing and tools, fix it, adhesive power. Then we're going to put in an organization system. We use organizers, you assign categories, and oh my God, right? The 1 and out rule. Like, whew, this feels like a lot of work. And this is not what I wanted. I just wanted to, I'm just trying to organize, right? Give me a plan. This is what I want. All right. So here's what I'm going to show you. This is how we break the loop. And this is the feeling that right now, if you're feeling this with me, you should be, hopefully you're experiencing the same thing of like, man, this is just a lot of work to clean a drawer. It is a lot of work to clean a drawer. That's the point. And this is what happens as an AI user. This is why I've generated this feeling in this way for you, knowing this is what was going to happen, because it happens to me too. When I experience this, I go like, oh, that's a lot of work. That's the red light. That's the red light feeling, that signal that you're kind of vibing to right now, going, okay, I get that vibe. It's not, is the answer correct? It's because it is correct. It is correct. It's right. It's just right in the wrong direction. I don't need it right in the way that it's right now. I need it right in the way that it is useful right now. And so I need to make sure that my responses are useful from AI. And this is not useful. How do I know that? Because I see a bunch of work. I experience this response as work. And I'm not even caring what the responses are. I'm not even looking at the words right now. I just look at this and be like, oh my God, that's a lot of work. Not what I intended. This is not useful. This is a spam, a junk mail message. This is a not useful message coming back from AI. This should not be in my Gmail box right now. It should not be a part of my conversation. So I need to figure out how to change that. So how do I change that? Glad you asked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in here to the screen only, just so you can see where I'm going. Because all of you will have access to this. If you just go to thisisyourmindonai.com, you will see there's a little start here, and it says this where the console is. And I'm putting everything that we're doing in all of these experiences and trainings will be in this console, publicly available to anybody. You do not have to log in. It's just a better experience if you do eventually. It's not quite yet there now. We're just starting this part of it. So you'll see this get better over time, but you're more than welcome to join at any time. If you do join now, it's just not the best experience. There's not a lot going on, but you will be there to see me build it up around you, which is also kind of a cool experience. So feel free. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear down here into the mirror prompt, click where it says show more, and I'm going to grab this part. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see what this says. I'm grabbing just the part in between those little equal signs. That's it. So this is what I'm pulling out. And this is what we call the mirror prompt. This is a console idea. The idea here is just like Gmail has a console, right? Where we go back and we have our settings. So if I go back to Gmail, we have our console of settings. Where is that? It's when we click the gear icon. That's our console, right? So now we know the different settings and we can click the different buttons and we can change how Gmail operates. So as a user, it's easier for us to actually go through. So all we're doing now is I'm giving you the gear button. This is the console. Your gear button is technically how you felt. And you're like, oh, that was a bad response. Not useful, right? It was right, just not right in the useful way. And you don't get caught up in hallucinations and that stuff. You just know it's not useful. So it doesn't matter why. It's just not useful. So instead you change your prompting style and you flip on the mirror. And this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to grabbing this. I'm just copying this out, which you can all do as well. If you do want to comment and let us know how things are going, that'd be awesome because, the more of you that are doing that, the better that these can get. But now I'm going to go ahead and pull it back into, and I'm just going to follow exactly what the process here is in the prompt is telling me. I'm pasting it in just like that. And see right down here, it says insert your situation here. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to scroll up to the top and I'm just going to show you apples to apples comparison. I'm just going to copy the exact same thing, only this time I am framing it differently with our little mirror prompt. This is a way to console. This is a pre-built prompt that you do not have to do on your own, but you can use at any point. And I just put in that stuff, right? And you can do this just on your own. You can explain whatever's going on and just paste in whatever your normal prompt was. Just prompt how you normally will prompt. Just use the mirror prompt. And only when you feel that red light coming on, you're like, oh, that wasn't right. Then you flip it to this mirror mode. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and we're going to experience this. So still on the free mode here. So I'm going to go through and we're going to see what it does. So now it says, all right, here's actually what I'm experiencing as a user. As an AI user, the reason I was feeling that was because I was feeling like this disconnect from the organizational competence. So as an admin, this is the settings that we want to try to do. I have to give myself permission. So, which is kind of interesting because this is what will sort of happen. It's now giving me an experience, a solution to actually how to get a clean drawer now, to actually get my junk drawer clean. It's give myself permission. My desire for an external plan is a misdirected strength of an excellent implementer who simply fears starting without the perfect blueprint. So why it's basically saying, hey man, that's cool, but I'm pretty sure you know how to clean a drawer. So I'm not going to talk about how to clean a drawer. I'm going to talk about why you are not cleaning the drawer. Let's get that. Why is this drawer not already clean? Let's go ahead and get those cobwebs out of your brain so that automatically you clean a drawer. So that you're basically automating yourself to go clean your drawer because you think differently about it, because AI helped you to think differently about it, because you knew you needed to think differently about it because you got that initial red light signal. All right, this is how we're starting to loop some things here. So now I got my red light, right? I get my first one, I'm like, well, that's a lot of work. So all I do is I go get my mirror prompt and I say, okay, the red light's my sign. Then I need to change some stuff. So I get the mirror prompt, I implement that, and then I get this completely different thing. So I realize that, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. I'm really just asking for work when I shouldn't be. The idea is anticipatory relief, right? This is the vibe, the thing I need to reflect on. The user knows the task is simple, the solution is straightforward, but is stuck in the pre-action phase, seeking an external catalyst, the plan, right? Seeking something else to overcome the zero momentum inertia. So they're looking for permission to start rather than genuinely needing the organizational knowledge, which is true. That's exactly what's going on. I'm asking for permission to start rather than needing the knowledge. So now what's happened is I understand the current state I am in. So I understand the current state I am currently in. The problem is not, I need to know how to clean a drawer, right? The problem is not what I thought it was originally. When I told AI, help me organize a junk drawer, give me a plan. That's not what I needed. It wasn't give me a plan to organize a junk drawer. It was give me a plan to think through why this is not already done. And AI saying it's not already done because you keep trying to plan it, right? And what you really need to start doing is trying to figure this out. This is the current state. The problem is not what do I need to do? You know what you need to do. It's how do I do what I know I need to do because I'm not doing it yet. And now I'm starting to realize, like in this case, this would be the experience that I would be feeling right now if I really had a junk drawer to clean. I would be like, yep, that's probably exactly what's going on. I'm too busy coming up with perfect plans and not just cleaning this thing. And I'm stuck in this pre-action phase, seeking this something else, right? This external catalyst to overcome this idea that I can't get out of my own way. And so I'm looking for permission to start rather than genuinely needing the organizational knowledge. Now, if this doesn't make sense to you, and it's highly likely this is going to happen with AI, I will get this and I will be like, yeah, I get what this is trying to do. It's a green light for me, but it's a little weird language, right? It's a little mechanical or technical. I'm not sure how to explain it. It's like a little woo-ish sometimes. And I'm like, okay, I kind of get that there's something here. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting a green light signal. There are insights where I'm like, oh my God, I kind of know that I have a state that I'm in that I'm like, this is the actual problem. Now I am operating AI because I'm aware that I am operating from that state and there's something here. And I can say, but if I'm not quite sure what it is, right? If I'm not quite sure how to say what it is, like if this doesn't mean anything to me, all I'm going to say is, this is great. Could you explain this back to me as if I'm just a regular person? So I get what you're trying to tell me. So all I'm doing is I'm asking it to translate. That's a very simple way. And I'm back now into more directing it. It's not one of those little pre-prompts. You just go back to your, what I would call a casual prompting style. And now I'm interacting with it saying, oh, okay, no problem. It got me where I want to go. I'm like, oh, this is different. I can feel the green light here. It's not that, oh, this is work. It's, oh, there's something here. And I know the next thing I need to do, which is ask it to translate what it's trying to say. So I say, okay, in regular terms, this means you already have the skill, right? I have the competence to organize the drawer, but your intention, the plan request, is acting as if you don't. If I already know how to do it, why am I asking for a plan? That makes sense. Logically, I'm starting to change already in my head what would be going on. You asked for a plan for a simple task, not because you lacked the know-how, but because you were looking for an excuse to begin. Ooh, that probably hits me in the gut, but that's exactly why I would be doing this right now. The admin override the permission needed. Your desire for an external plan is misdirected the strength of excellent implementer who simply fears starting without a perfect blueprint. So in regular terms, the truth is you aren't bad at organizing. In fact, you're likely excellent at following through once you have a clear first step, which is very true. Your glitch wasn't incompetence. It wasn't that you didn't know. It was you're being paralyzed by the need for a perfect starting point, something that happens to me all the freaking time. I'm giving you the permission to embrace that you're a good implementer and that the simplest plan, like the one I gave you, is good enough to start. The tension is released when you realize you don't need a complex strategy for a simple chore. So the energy behind the words, right? The vibe of anticipatory relief meant that when you asked for the plan, you weren't sounding stressed. You sounded like you knew the solution was easy and you just wanted someone to hand you the shovel so you could finally dig in. And this is what it means when it says the vibe. This is the operator vibe. This is the vibe you want to be in when you are working with your AI, because the more that your vibe is what you want, the more you are likely to tell AI the correct thing because you're just vibing with it. It's almost like it's actually happening. So with that, we're going to bring this one to a close. I'm just going to close the loop here on the operator login to kind of show you. So what we've done so far in our first day together here in this training is we've talked about this idea of the user loop, right? I need to write an email. Here's an email, not that email, something else. And it kind of loops over and over and you disconnected from the thing you actually really want, but you're not quite sure what it is. That's a red light experience, right? This whole thing is red light. So we don't want any of that. Here, when you're an operator, you realize the red light is happening within the conversation. So the entire conversation is not a red light, just parts of it will be. They'll give you that signal. And it's when you say you ask it for the thing that you think you want, whatever it is that you need help with. It's here, it gives you the response and you go, ooh, that's not exactly it. This is a red light. There's something that's off here. Then you now know you need it to, because you don't know what's off. You just know something's off. And that's all you need to know. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to meditate on it. You just need to experience it. And once you experience like, oh, something's off there, that's not exactly it. You mirror it. And that's where you bring in the mirror prompt. And at that point, this is where you should get essentially what becomes a green light experience, because it'll go through and it'll say, you'll have some sort of like, exactly, right? So you start going like, holy cow, that's exactly what I needed. And you have that as an experience. This sort of moment, and that's a green light answer, in which case you're like, okay, I get this reply back. And I'm like, yep, that's like an email coming through. That's like, oh, that's really useful as an email. That's useful as a message. That's useful as a response. And so I'm going to continue to operate AI because I'm in this green light mode, and you just operate it from green light. And whenever you get a red light, you flip back to mirror, and mirror will put you back into the green light where you go like, oh, okay, there's something there. And then you continue to use AI. However you use AI, doesn't matter. There's no prompting style. Just have a natural conversation with it, exactly like I did here. So I'm going to show you one more time just so you can kind of see how it worked. So as we go up, let me scroll all the way up here. So we started with just a traditional prompt, right? This is not a magic gem or anything like this. It's just regular AI LLM. We put in the prompt that you would normally do. We got a response we would normally expect to get, which is a whole bunch of work about the thing that we know we already need to do. But it's in a different, cool, entertaining way. So it feels like it's progress because you have a little more detail as to how it might look when you actually do the work, but you're still not doing the work. And then we realize, oh, that's that red light feeling where you're like, well, I'm feeling like the work is piling up, but I'm not actually moving I'm not doing, there's no movement here. So if that's the case, that's a red light kind of feeling as an AI operator. Now I'm like, okay, I'm just going to flip into mirror mode. So I bring the mirror prompt, right, which I showed you how to get. You take that mirror prompt, and then once that mirror prompt is there, it'll give you kind of this piece, which if this is enough for you, it is kind of for me because I've used this for a while. So I get this, and that's kind of why it's built like this. So you can sit here and be like, okay, there's kind of something here. It's not work. This is not work. This is like, oh yeah, I kind of get what I think this is saying, but I'm not quite sure that I get all of what it's saying. So I just continued a regular conversation. I didn't do another mirror prompt. I just said, cool, this is great. I just talked to it like I normally talk to it in the beginning. I went back to that same style because I was a green light. So I was still in green light. And then once I did that, it came back with something incredibly useful for me. So I stayed in green light mode. And as long as I'm staying in green light mode, I will continue to prompt. The second it goes back to that red light where I'm like, oh, that's not quite it. I then use the mirror to kind of get an understanding of maybe where I'm at right now because I need to kind of understand it. It flips me back into the operator set and the conversation continues and AI gets more useful. So I'm going to show you how that works at this whole other level. Once you realize what state you're in, the idea is like, how do you keep that going? And that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. So with that, what I would ask that you do now is to grab, if you want to play with this, which I highly recommend you do, take your responses because you can take that prompt in whatever AI you're using, take the response and then pop it into. I'm gonna put it into the actual community, just so we have a little response, and we have that. Here's mine from the live training. Oops, there we go, and here's my. I'm gonna save my response. And then we have that in there. So now you've got a place to be able to interact with that. If you want to become a member, you can put your responses back there. It's fine. I would really love to see them on YouTube, to be honest. I just don't know how to do that yet as comments. So, but if you could leave your responses as a comment, run through the gem, and then put in there what the response is that you got in the comments. And now is when you would do that. Remember I said I would tell you when to do comments? Now is when you would do that. And the reason that we're doing this now and not sort of doing comments as we go is because when you do it now, you're signaling we're actually operating YouTube as operators now. And we're signaling all of us, it doesn't matter when, and this is important. I'm recording this on December the 1st, Cyber Monday, I guess our first official, birthday would be this, December 1st at 9:39 a.m. Central Texas time. And as I'm doing this, you're watching in some other time, right? Some other space. However that is, wherever that is, you can comment right now at this time frame in this video because that's the piece that you and I are connected with right now. At this, however far am I into this, you're right there with me. So when you comment, you're commenting to the algorithm right about the same time that, oh, this was useful in a new way, a different way. And it sends another signal that the algorithm goes, oh, other people would also find this to be useful. And it doesn't matter necessarily the engagement. It's just a matter of signals that we're giving and when we're giving it. So when we give all these comments right around this time, it doesn't matter if it takes years to build those up. It just keeps sending that signal to the algorithm. Right around this time, something's really useful to happen. And this will be the most replayed part because people will go back and they'll be like, gee, I wonder if that worked. Let me go see when he said it. What was the time frame? Let me go back to the comments. And then they will realize, wow, he just thought what was inside my head that I was about to do. So go do it. Have fun with it. This is the entire point of this experience. But share them, put them out there. And then if you would like, you are more than welcome. I got two different things for you to continue to experience if you want. In the meantime, one is there is the This Is Your Mind on AI community, which I'm just showing you a little zoomed in there. So you can join that. There'll be a little login sign up button on the upper right when you go to it. It's just not a great experience right now because it's what we call the friends and family version. We're just getting started. So come back there, and we're literally going to be building around you. We may not even pay that much attention to you, but I would love you back there. And then you'll see places show up where we can start participating and everything else. But start now with the comments because you can at least do that back there. At least I hope so. Hope I got it set up enough. And if not, we'll do an experience together where that gets fixed. The other community, and this is for those of you who want to learn how I created all of this course in general, and that is automated with .tech. You are more than welcome to go there. They have what we're currently calling the backstage experience. So you can go back and you can log into this. It's a completely different community. So you would have two separate logins, but they're two completely different purposes. This Is Your Mind on AIs. We're going to get the fun little prompts and have experiences like this that we're doing now on YouTube. But if you really want to understand that, I used AI to create all of this, practically the entire script, every word, the way the layout went, all of this, including the websites, the tech, how the posts were done, all of it was very AI operator driven. So it's not that AI did everything for me. I'm a really good AI operator and I can basically create anything with AI. And I want to show you how I'm doing that at automated with .tech if you want to use AI to create whatever you want to create with AI. And learning all the different prompts and styles and everything else. If you just want to experience cool stuff with AI, like that mirror prompt where it's kind of like, hey, show me the thing that I didn't know, then you don't, but you don't want to learn how I came up with that. Well, that's cool. Just use it. Stay with This Is Your Mind on AI because that's what that is going to be. It's all about the experience of AI over here. And if you want to see the machinery, this is kind of like an amusement park that I'm building with AI for you to experience AI. And over here is how the machinery of the amusement park and how I'm building the machines that actually are building This Is Your Mind on AI, which you can kind of see in there. So I'm going to be doing that. You can see here, this is the announcement we put in yesterday to the backstage members already, that things were getting started. Thank you, Kurt, for little comments there. And of course, those that are in the backstage and are able to see this would love, because we're just getting started. This is a tiny, tiny, tiny little audience on purpose, because this is the whole point of the experience that I'm building here with you and now sharing with you. So thank you for sharing it with me, because it's really cool that you are still there. With that, any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and leave them in the comments. You can drop in the YouTube community as well. On This Is Your Mind on AI, and you should be able to see us there, as well as the community inside either thisismindonai.com or automatedwith.tech. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. So thanks again for being part of our first ever 3-day live experience. This is day 1, coming to a close at right about the exact time that I needed it to come to a close. And at this point, I'm going to take a break. So enjoy the rest of my day, and hopefully you enjoy yours as well. Take a look at that mirror prompt, play along with it, and then drop it in the comments. Like, this is the time now to light up those comments. Feedback, good, bad, and ugly is also great. So we should have a bunch of comments that come in a certain time frame where everybody was putting in those things, and we all know that's when those comments happened. And then there should be a whole other flood of comments that eventually start coming up with, like, wow, here's what I thought about this. What was the game changer? Things like this. How did you use AI in different ways? Maybe you can post a before and after of how you took the generic little response it gave you and how it really leveled it up in the same way that I asked it to level it up and make it easier to understand. Whatever it is for you, share it, because the more of us that are sharing how we're doing this with others, the more of us that will start operating AI. And I am going to show you some amazing worlds that are possible when you know how to operate AI. So I look forward to that. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this to a close. Thank you again for joining. This is Your Mind on AI, and we will see you on the next live stream.